Item. Welcome visitors. We have Ms. Alma Carpenter here to address the board. And as the rules are of our meetings, Ms. Carpenter, you are recognized now for 5 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor and members of the board. It's hard to know where to start, but last time I was here was for August 24th public hearing. There's a special call meeting for the public to come and comment on the budget. And it was less than 2 hours notice. This special call meeting was going to happen, right before the regular board meeting. And so we were invited to speak for 3 minutes on the budget. And there wasn't any budget. So there wasn't much to talk about. And Mr. Mayor, you weren't here that day. It was a special call, public hearing, and you weren't here. I rose to speak and pointed out that there was no budget to talk about. It was just a reorganization of the ad valorem taxes, allocation percentages, or maybe not even really. I don't know. I mean, that wasn't a budget. And so I sat down, and then the chair for the Cemetery Association got up and wanted to speak, but she wasn't recognized, and she wanted to make sure that the cemetery was going to get their $72,000 a year. And Ms. Dillard, who was pro tem, announced that she got her budget item, but she wanted more than the yearly allocation. And so Mr. Dillard had said she needed to address the next board meeting. And as far as I could tell from the meeting, it was taken under advisement. So it wasn't moved that she would get the extra 12 but in any case, there's still no budget. Anyway, I stood up when Miss Rushing got up, and then I was told by a police officer to sit down. So I sat down. But later, after the meeting, I was arrested. I was told to leave, and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to go to the regular board meeting. So they arrested me and hauled me off to jail. So that was, needless to say, a very unpleasant experience. And then I found out from April 26th that the city did approve the $84,000 for the budget, but that was never presented. It didn't go through the board as far as I know. And the finance meeting consists of the board and the mayor. So I don't, I can't imagine what else is in the budget that we don't know about. I guess the next item, I was kind of appalled that your assistant was awarded $2,000 some odd dollars for continuing education, and according to the code, which doesn't seem to be a concern to the board or the mayor, all subsidies and contributions must be provided by the city by specific amount in its annual municipal budget or as officially amended. No subsidies or contributions shall be authorized in the municipal budget without compliance with the application procedures laid out below, which are to be all subsidies, contributions should be submitted to the city clerk on or before May 1st.
Ms. Carpenter, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have reached almost 5 minutes. If you might need to bring this to a summation.
All right, so I wanted to point out there's a article in Listen Up, y'all, right after you were inaugurated, and you were quoted, and you said, "This is how we build one Natchez. If something is not done in North Natchez, it's done in South Natchez and vice versa. If a curbside gutter is looking bad in one area of town, we have to address it also in the other side of town. I want our legacy to be this, that in 4 years we have done what we have done together." But also you repeated the words transparent, ensuring the public has input and is informed of what the mayor and the board and other city officials are doing. And you also said that you would reserve time at each meeting for spontaneous comments from the public. I haven't seen that happen.
I actually, quoting from our Code of Ordinances, this is section 238, item 3, the presentation of such person or group shall not exceed a total time of 5 minutes. And anyone is allowed to, as you have done, request time on the agenda.
Yeah, but I had to do it before Wednesday,
Yes.
Before the next Tuesday meeting.
I'm sorry, the time has definitely lapsed.
Well, you're taking some of it right now. So I wanted to, then I found out that you were running this B&B business on our dime.
5 minutes. You're over 5 minutes, according to the clock.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter.
Well, you didn't like to say what I wanted to say. Miscellaneous areas,
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Thank you, and have a good night.
You have not been fulfilling the promises in campaign that you campaigned on. Not at all. And I have a lot more, and I will be submitting it for the next meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. The next item, other city business. We don't have anyone here pertaining to other city business. Unfinished business?
Mr. Mayor.
We have, yes? Yes.
Yes.
You're recognized, Alderwoman Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At our last meeting, there was a discussion again on the bathrooms. And after looking more into this, there is need for an additional bathroom at North Natchez Park. I move that we hire Waycaster and Associates to begin looking at the cost of potential bids for an additional bathroom to be erected closer to the playground area at North Natchez Park.
A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall to ask Waycaster Associates to prepare estimates for an additional bathroom. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes. Alderman Davis has seconded that motion. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Alderman Dillard.
again, I think that I think I can say with a certain amount of confidence that we need bathrooms at almost all of these parks. And fair enough, we were putting together a budget for recreation and trying to upgrade our recreational venues, but part of those are being able to accommodate visitors to these facilities. It's one thing to come and watch a ball game and have a bag of popcorn and a couple of Cokes, but then nowhere to go to the bathroom. So, I think this should include a consideration of all the parks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I could just speak to that before we continue. Obviously, we are looking at all the parks, and included in our recreational bond was the renovation of all existing bathrooms. And we were very fortunate that we did receive a grant through Archives and History that will allow restoration of bathrooms at Duncan Park. And we are right now in the midst of restoration of existing bathrooms at all of the other parks.
Correct.
In fact, this board unanimously voted to pursue that with Mr. Scott, the contractor, over 2 months ago. I believe what Alderwoman Hall is saying is that, as pointed out by Alderman Frazier at our last meeting, that one bathroom at North Natchez is not going to be sufficient once that new playground is installed, and we'll be opening those bids in just a few days, actually. And once that new playground is installed, it would be a good idea to have an additional playground bathroom near that playground.
Near the playground.
So I think that's what it's pertaining to.
That's correct.
We're not saying anything as far as the other parks, because those restoration efforts are already underway.
Well, Mr. Mayor, one more comment is that the restoration which you referred to for the Mississippi Department of Archives and History is the playground at the entrance of the park. If someone was at the pavilion in the middle of the park, they would have to walk a quarter of a mile or a half a mile. And there are playgrounds which is just this side of the Carroll Jones field.
Right.
Even the walk from there to the blue bowling field would be a quarter of a mile. Now, I can't imagine that you would want someone with a small child to have to make a walk that far to be able to attend to their needs. I just think
We could always ask that an additional bathroom be looked at
Absolutely.
for that
This is
area,
for North
Alderman
Natchez
Dillard,
Park.
if you believe it is needed. Alderwoman Irving, I'll recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to ask about bathrooms are being worked on, but I want to know whether or not the bathroom entrance and the walkway was accommodating for a wheelchair, someone who's in a wheelchair and can't get in the door entrance. Is it wide enough? Does it meet those specifications? And that's what I want to ask about. Stop by there, and it doesn't have the slab where you'll be able to roll in the bathroom. So that would be accommodated as well.
We can
Mr.
certainly
Mayor.
look at that. Alderwoman Hall.
Mr. Mayor, yes. Section 404.2.7 of the Americans with Disabilities Act specify that the guidelines, bathrooms, openings, entrances, the width is to be 32 inches. The width at all of the bathrooms that we have are 36 inches beyond the guidelines. We are in compliance with ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alderwoman
I
Hall.
asked also not only the
Yes,
door
Alderwoman
entrance,
Irving.
and when they measured for me, it was 35. But I am gonna say this, that there isn't, the threshold of the door is this high, if this is the concrete slab. And so I'm asking whether or not there would be more concrete added so that it would be an even level for someone that has a wheelchair to roll themselves in.
Mr.
That's what I'm asking.
Mr.
We
Mayor.
can certainly look at
Mr.
that.
Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
Again, Section 404 specifies minimum width 32. Anything of,
And I
what
understand that. I
Alderwoman
read that.
Irving
I'm sorry,
is-
Alderwoman
what
Hall has the
Alderwoman
floor.
Irving is identifying is to go to 36 inches. We are at 36 inches within the guidelines according to Section 404 of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
All right. The question has been called.
But I didn't get an answer, and that's what I want.
That is your answer.
We can certainly look
I'm
at that.
speaking with the- I want to
Right
say
now,
this, Mr.
I
Mayor.
want to say this.
You
We
don't have to
are
hit the gavel.
we
I'm
are
just really
discussing
asking a
the
question.
motion pertains to a second bathroom at North Natchez Park. Discussion of any other bathrooms in any other locations, I will rule out of order because that is not pertinent to this motion. This motion pertains to the second bathroom proposed estimate at North Natchez Park. I will entertain discussion only on that motion. We are following our rules.
But Mr. Mayor,
Do you have information
Question was called.
regarding the motion, the second bathroom at North Natchez Park? That is what we're discussing right
and
now.
I do want to say this, Mr. then Mr. Dillon just spoke, and it wasn't pertaining to that bathroom, it was pertaining to other bathrooms, and so my
He was
question
asking other
is-
bathrooms, but you're getting into ADA standards at other bathrooms, and that would be another issue. I think
So
he was
I would
just
make a
raising,
motion then.
I think he was just raising a point
Oh, okay.
regarding, if we're going to do this one bathroom, what about the others? And I invited him, as I invite you, always feel free to make another motion
Okay.
when you would like to. The question has been called. Is it seconded?
Alderman Davis said.
I'm talking the question. Call for the question. Okay, we'll proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. That is unfinished business. Any other unfinished business? We'll move to county business. I don't think we have any county business this evening. Department directors' reports. Mr. Johnston, you're recognized. Good evening.
Good evening.
You had a draft of my report in your respective packets this past week. It has been updated and it was laid at your respective desks earlier today. And I think it's on the screen as well. Re-roofing of Natchez City Hall with the monies from Archives and History. Staff is requesting a motion to retroactively approve amendment number 1 between the Mississippi Department of Archives and History and the City of Natchez to allow for the remaining funds to go towards interior painting and floor repairs at Natchez City Hall.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion.
Call the question.
Second.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnston.
In addition, staff is requesting a motion to approve supplemental agreement number 1 between Wakehouster and Associates and the City of Natchez to provide needed architectural services associated with the above listed interior painting and floor repairs at City Hall. The fee for these services totals $4,000.
So moved.
Second.
The motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. We will call for the question. Second. The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Mr. Johnson, the next item.
2022 Drainage Initiative. I'd like to also introduce in the audience David Atkins and Jared Monticello. I always mispronounce Jared's last name. My apologies. Concerning, again, drainage. Provided with the report is the proposed scope of work and engineering fee schedule from A&M Engineering LLC for the above referenced project for your review. Staff will request a motion to accept and execute a contract to issue a notice to proceed to A&M Engineering to proceed, noting that A&M was selected to provide this service at the last board meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Smith. And it is a pleasure to have Mr. Atkins here and Mr. Monso. Thank you. And I always mispronounce it as well. Jared, your last name? Monso. I got it. We will introduce you and recognize you at this time.
Well, this young gentleman is Jerry Monso. And I've been dealing with him now. We did the 592 project with Corps engineers, what, 20 years ago? And tuned about 20-something billion. And he was engineer on it. They did a great job, and we've done a lot of projects in. And since I retired, he and I started the world's smallest two-man engineering company. And it's been a real pleasure. I mean, a pleasure working with him. He's really refreshing because he's kind of young.
Well, I've learned a lot from Mr. Atkins, and I've worked with a lot of engineers, and I tell you what, y'all are lucky to have Mr. David, because I would take David over 90% of them. But anyway, Jared Monso, I know some of y'all have never met me or seen my face, but I am familiar with the city. We did the North Natchez Drainage Project from Canal Street all the way up to Buckner's Alley. And that was funded by the Corps of Engineers 592 program. And similar to this drainage study, I think the outcome is to find federal dollars that we can apply to these issues. And it's out there. We just got to compile a report and start applying. Is there any questions, concerns?
I believe we are following all of the areas that we had discussed in prior meetings. I see one gentleman, Mr. Sterling. I believe we have your location on this list. We have so many others on this list. My question would be, as you're out doing the work, should you locate other areas that need to be added? I'm certain that would be a possibility.
Absolutely.
And because you will be the experts, obviously, it's already been stated that you are. Alderwoman Irving?
Yes, sir. There was two locations that I submitted, Mayor, the day that we had the meeting with the list, and I don't see them here. One of them was Jack Wake Park, and the other was Fine Street, that alley right off Main Street, I believe, or possibly State Street. Fine Street, there was a problem there that members that live in the alley had brought to my attention, and it's not there either.
See, Vine Street.
Fine, F-I-N-E.
Okay.
It's
Could
an
it be
alley.
that we had a misspelling?
F-I-N-E.
That's possible. Ms. Irving, I do not recall Jack Waite being mentioned in the past, overlooked. And I do not recall. I do
It
recall
was
being discussed fine and all. Is there not a Fine Street
It's
then?
an alley. It's right off State Street. It's to the left before you get up to Arlington Street.
Okay, off Arlington.
It's an alley. Mhm.
Okay, we'll make
I'm
sure
assuming
it's
that's
added.
It's a concrete drain there, and I have been called out several times to look at that.
Yeah.
What is the issue at Jack Waite?
Water coming down the hill, wanting to possibly put some kind of drain there to catch the water to feed into the main drain that's already there. That's the issue, so that it doesn't go across that fence line to catch it at the bottom of the hill.
Would it be possible to go to a site visit and you can
Yes, sir.
specifically show us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Frazier?
James, these are the list of streets that you send us, right?
There's the one that emailed us
Okay,
past
yeah.
Monday, yes.
Mr. Atkins, I know you're very familiar with the city of Natchez, and that you was a former employee of Natchez Waterworks. Do you still have some of these old plans from the Waterworks state
Yes, sir.
showing this drainage problem and stuff? You know, when
Yes,
you
sir.
were with the Waterworks company, y'all had plans to lay pipes in certain areas of streets and drainage and all that stuff. Do you still have some of the plans?
Yes, sir.
So I thought,
You know, you brought up a good point. Scared myself. On Mother's Day, I turned 68. Next year, I've been in Natchez 50 years. Half a century I've worked for the city of Natchez.
Wow,
Wow.
wow.
And it's organization.
Well, I'm-
20.
yeah, I know that. That's why I asked you about some of the plans. I'm quite sure that you didn't throw all the plans away that y'all had a long time ago. You still got them. Okay.
And Mr. Atkins has obviously agreed with you because you look good. What I would suggest is that everyone understand this is a working document. We don't have to figure it all out tonight, but I think it's important that we honor this motion to move forward. And it's important also to note that so much has been done over the past many years, thanks to the drainage project that was begun with the help of our beloved Senator Thad Cochran. That project was completed just a few months ago.
Not closed out just yet, waiting on a few punches.
Yeah. And so it is appropriate now that good timing that we are launching another project. And we will continue to work on this.
Call the question.
Question has been called. The second, we will proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion
All right.
indicate by saying aye.
All right.
And all opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe this is where my report changes from the one handed out this past week to the one that was on your desk. Natchez Aquatic Center, the city's 2000, and actually that's 19, not 16. Land and Water Conservation Fund, funded by Wildlife Fisheries and Parks. Staff, in conjunction with the project architect, is requesting approval of change order number 1, reducing the amount of the contract with Wilmar Construction, Inc. from $257 to $250,476, a reduction of $6,524. In addition, staff is requesting approval of the following pay estimates invoices so that staff can begin work on the closeout reimbursement package to the funding agency. Wilmar pay estimate number 8, $2,479.50. Wilmar pay estimate number 9, $12,523.80. Waycast and Associates invoice number 4818-577, even total $15,580.30.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. We'll move into discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
Under this contract, Mr. Johnson, was there any contingency funds?
We had contingency built into the contract.
How much was the contingency fund? So those $10,000 were they used?
A small portion was, yes.
So the amount of that contingency fund that is unused would also reduce the cost
That
of
is
the contract.
reducing it. That is the source of the reduction.
That's the 6,000.
Yes, sir. Rounded, yes.
That's the remainder of the contingency fund.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm understanding, are we putting the sign up after we're complete, or? is
We are
it-
going to do that on our own, not go through the contractor. We've done that in the past. We have a similar project from several years ago at Duncan Park. We did that separate. We'll do the same,
Estimated cost?
under 500.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Alderman Dillard. Further discussion?
Call the question.
We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
And one more item, Auburn Billiard Hall 2021 Community Heritage Preservation Grant Program, again funded by Archives and History. Staff is requesting approval of the architectural services contract between Melinda Stewart Architects and the City of Natchez for the reference grant to preserve the portico columns at the main house, 1840 Billiard Hall, and the 1914 Park Pavilion in the amount of 10% of construction amount, subject to the review and approval of the city attorney.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
Would it be correct for me to assume that the bathroom, which is kind of on the end of that pavilion, will that be included in this project?
Staff did not prepare the
think that's what the mayor
application
was
or
referring to.
budget, Mr. Dillard. Let me see if it's listed here. Removal of existing bathrooms and buildings of new restrooms.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Further discussion? We'll proceed now.
Mr. Mayor, yes, clarification.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
New bathrooms at the billiard hall.
At the pavilion.
Okay, I'll just be clear, because I know we have bond money also.
Yeah.
That's
Now, I'm
being-
going by the budget provided in the application prepared by the foundation.
Okay, thanks.
We'll
Was
call
that,
for the, yes,
And I just-
Alderwoman Irvin.
again, I just want to ask that, was that for all bathrooms in all parks or just Duncan Park?
Just this one
Just this
bathroom
archive.
at Auburn.
Okay.
We'll now call for the question.
Second.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, thank you. Very good job. As always, we will call now on Chief Robert Arrington with the Fire Department. Chief Arrington, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Afternoon, evening.
Okay, so bring y'all up to speed on February 14th of this year. One of my command staff was involved in a traffic accident at the corner of Main Street and 4th Street at the traffic light. We got pretty much T-boned on the driver's side door. Dealing with the insurance company, with Mr. Peoples, Public Works, the insurance company has decided to total that vehicle out. So we have two options. The first option, we can keep the vehicle in its totaled out state, and they will provide the city with $15,000, $14,000. But the initial estimate to repair the vehicle is in excess of $15,000. And that was before they tore off anything. So the mechanic was pretty sure once they tore everything out, it was going to be more damage, more cost associated. The second option was to turn the vehicle over to the insurance company, and they would give the city $30,000 for that vehicle. My assumption would be that we would turn over that vehicle to the insurance company. That was my thought. I will let y'all make that full decision. But with that being said, we need to replace a command vehicle. This is a 2016 GMC Tahoe, roughly 68,000 miles on it.
How many?
68. So I've spoken with several dealers around. Getting a new vehicle is going to cost a lot. It's difficult to find one, first of all, and it's just going to cost a lot. The rough estimate is about $47,000 to $48,000. I've also spoken with Enterprise. Enterprise can get us a vehicle in the, I would say, rapid time, but it's not going to be very, very fast. But they can get us a vehicle, and that $30,000 will cover the lease price of that vehicle for several years. Included in that price, I've just got a quote from Enterprise today. They can get us a fleet vehicle for lease price about $900 a month. I'm working to get that price down a little bit because we have to buy aftermarket stuff to go on the truck. So I will get those final numbers to y'all after I get done working with them. But what is the pleasure of the board?
All right.
Excuse me.
Well, I'll recognize Alderman Davis at this time.
I think we should take that $30,000 and go toward the lease.
Is it the motion?
All right.
Second.
All right. A motion has been made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
So if we go towards the lease, that lease would be for, what's the term of the lease?
It will be just
3
like our
years?
other vehicles.
it 3
They
years?
do a 3-year lease, and then at the end of the 3 years, they'll
Right.
take that vehicle and get another one.
Okay, so 3 years, 12,000, 30-something $1,000. Now, the other question is, okay, but will that vehicle, won't it have to be equipped with lights and radios and signage and badging and all of that stuff?
Yes,
Do we
it-
know what that cost is?
I do not, because some of that stuff is going to be eliminated. We're going to take the lights off the old vehicle and use those, take the radio out, repurpose it. Of course, that vehicle will have to have badging and signage. It will also need some other aftermarket things. We're not sure how much that's going to cost right now. Again, I'm working with Enterprise to get final numbers. I was just able to get this about an hour ago.
It'd really be sweet if you could get all of that inside that $30,000 for 3 years, wouldn't it?
It would be
Thank you,
wonderful.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Alderman Frazier.
I have just a few questions. You said we have 68,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Enterprise vehicle that we're gonna get, how many miles do you think they're gonna have on it?
It will be brand new.
It'll be brand
Yeah,
new?
it'll be a new. Now, of course, in the travels to them taking it to the upfitter, excuse me, it'll get a few miles on it. Excuse me. But it'll be a new vehicle.
Hey,
No, see some water.
I clean water.
But it'll be a new.
How much you get choked now?
Chief, I feel your pain. Happened to me just a couple days ago. It's something about this weather.
Oh. Wait, that's me. Yes, it'll be a new vehicle. Of course, it'll have miles on it from them driving it from. It'll most likely come from South Haven or somewhere, but for them transporting it to the upfitter and then from the upfitter to here. Those will be the only miles on it. Other than that, it'll be a new vehicle.
It's a lease for how many years?
3-year lease, and at the end of the 3 years, we will take the savings that we get from that vehicle. They'll sell it and bring us a new vehicle. It's the same thing that we're doing with our other vehicles now. Now, with that being said, Alderman Dillard, I had already included in my budget to get a third vehicle. Just wasn't gonna get it until next year. So we just moving a little quicker. Yeah.
So we're gonna be paying $900 a month.
Yes, sir. Roughly.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, one more comment.
Yes,
We're
Alderman
we're
Dillard.
getting towards our last quarter of this, and there's some financial discussions that we'll be having. And at this time of the year, we have to look at those things because we have to finish the year. Unlike the federal government, we just can't keep printing money. We have to be accountable for all this. So I think it sounds to me this is the wisest disposition of what it is. You're basically 3 years at the cost of a used vehicle. Now, albeit it was only 68,000, which because you're not, patrolling in a police car. So
Correct.
I think it's a good decision. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Second.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, very good job you're doing for us. Yes, Mr. Callaway.
I think before anything's finalized on this lease, Chief, we need to get those numbers in front of this alderman. Get those
Absolutely.
final things.
I'm working with Enterprise to get everything finalized. These are just rough numbers. I spoke with them. I'm waiting to hear from y'all. I'm gonna send them an email here real quick, tell them to go ahead and kind of reserve that truck for us, and then get the final numbers of everything with the aftermarket equipment and everything, so they can present us with a finalized exact budget of what's going to be going on.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing I got, I was contacted by Mr. Howard at the port. We have a boat down there. It's been there for several years. It's a boat that we can't use. It's just sitting there. We received this boat for free several years ago. We didn't pay anything for it. My request is that we surplus that boat. I've talked to Mr. Peoples about some kind of aspect of selling it, but I don't think we need to be throwing money into a boat that we're not going to be able to use. It's need to be repaired. We don't have people to drive it. There are few classes, if any, at the fire academy to teach people to drive it, and very few piloting classes around here to get people to. So I think it's going to be a lot of money
Yes.
unnecessary.
Alderwoman Smith.
I was just saying, move to surplus it. We've been
All
able to
right.
do it for a long time.
And Alderman Davis has seconded that motion. Any discussion?
One more question.
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Dillard.
Does the city of Natchez or your department in particular have responsibilities and duties for providing, rescues in the river of the Mississippi River?
We historically do provide rescues on the river. Now we have a boat that we use for that.
You
The
do.
boat that's at Station 2 is operational. It works fine. We tested with our other stuff. So it's the boat that we use. This boat was a great idea at the time for what we thought we could use it for, but the mechanical problems with it, not having someone to drive it, it's a much larger boat. It's a Tritoon. It's just, I think, more than we can
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
deal with.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
this is the boat I brought up a year ago, correct? That we had down there. I brought this to the board a year ago about that boat because someone at the port called me about it. And I'm glad that we're getting rid of it.
That's about a month ago.
Yeah, not about a month ago. It wasn't a month ago. It's been almost a year now. Let me say this. The boat that we got now, you say we have, is it Coast Guard certified?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Question?
The question
Second.
will proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chief. We now will recognize Ms. Sonora Cole, who is the Director of Parks and Recreation. Ms. Cole, while you're coming, we commend you for all of the great things you're doing. a very good art event, messy masterpieces at the park. We continue to hear great input from the public. They're so glad to see it, activities again. Thanks for all you're doing. We now recognize you.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Board.
Good evening.
I wanted to present you guys two bids we have from Jordan Kaiser and Sessions as well as Green Surveying for the topographical survey for the baseball fields. Basically, they're going to do a survey to see how much it will cost to ensure that there's proper drainage, there's proper leveling of the ground, so that once we solicit bids or we move on to the next step of soliciting bids from the turf companies, then they would basically know what exactly we need from them and what to do. So this is basically Green and Jordan. My choice that I would like to go with, which is the lowest, is Green Surveying. I think we get a little bit more bang for our buck if you read what they're going to do. They're also gonna, not only are they gonna do the infield where we're gonna have the turf in the infields, they're also gonna survey at the back grid back near the fence area as well. And it's gonna come in at $2,600.
So moved.
The pleasure then of Alderwoman Hall has made the motion, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion,
Call.
question?
Call accept.
Question's been called.
I'm sorry.
Time out.
Danny.
Mr. Callaway.
Is that the lowest bid?
It is. It's Jordan Kaiser is $2,750 and
That's one on the record, or we got
yeah, Green is 26.
The best and lowest bid.
Mhm.
All right. We'll call for the question. The
Call.
question's been called.
Second.
We will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Also, Ms. Cole, we do have the
Yeah,
flyers out.
I just wanted to put everybody in the know regarding our parks and recreation improvements public presentation. I know that we have a lot of meetings that go on with some of the improvements that we're doing with Golf Clubhouse, with North Natchez, as far as the architects and our planning, and also some of our parks improvements. So the public doesn't always get to have that seat at the table to ask questions, to come and see what we're seeing. So I wanted to get everyone together and have them come, and if they wanted to see some of the schematics or some of our pictures of what we're looking at with all of those renovations, they can come, as well as ask questions to me and any of the recreational staff committee if they have any questions. So it's just an opening for the community to get involved and in the know about recreation.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Alderwoman Irvin.
I know we have it here. I saw it in the paper. Everybody don't get the newspaper. So what other way are you gonna try to reach the public? Are you gonna mail that card out that you have? Is that possible to go to every household? It should be. I mean, you don't have to do first class mail.
I'm afraid that would run into over $1,000 just to mail.
We don't have that in advertisement?
We are,
In our budget?
we're putting this out there, and we need your help to put it out there. Put it on your Facebook and social media.
And it will be tonight, but as well. But again, everybody don't do Facebook.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've done
So
social
we'll-
media, we've done the paper, we put it out in the paper. With these cards, we're gonna also put it at some of the local businesses as well, just to get them in the know about what's going on. And also, I encourage you guys to share it to your followers on your pages as well, because I know each one of you, majority of you do have Facebook pages, social media pages as well. So if you can get with your constituents and also put this out, because we want everyone to be able to come and get in the know and ask questions.
That's what it should be able to do.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
Thank
So they
you.
have their voice.
How
It's
awesome.
on YouTube. It's on YouTube as well.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
All right.
We now will call on Commander Cal Green, who is here with a last-minute item involving municipal court.
Thank you. Somewhere along the way, and every once in a while it does happen, but I dropped the ball on asking for travel for Judge Nikita Banks to attend the Mississippi Municipal Court Judges Seminar. And it will be held on the dates of May 31st through June the 3rd.
What is the pleasure of the
So
board?
moved.
Second.
Alderman Dillard has made the motion and second by Alderman Davis. Any discussion? We'll
Call
call
the
for the question.
Call.
We will proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will now proceed to city officials' reports. Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to thank Dr. Daniel Collins, the agricultural director at Alcorn State University, and his students, along with the Alcorn Extension Office and the Mississippi State Extension Office, for all the work they did this past year and will be ongoing at the Osceola Park Community Garden. The students at Alcorn in the agriculture department did a lot of research in that garden this year, and it has benefited them much in their educational studies in the agriculture department at Alcorn. And they are interested in continuing this partnership with us in the future.
That's correct.
Yes, thank that. And I would also like to thank the members of the Mayor's Youth Council this year for their leadership and active participation in our community. These young men and women were outstanding in their endeavors this year. They plan something almost every week, every weekend. And also I'd like to thank Dustin Hinkle and Nifa Hardy and Richard Burke for all of their work along with the Mayor's Youth Council as well. And these are indeed our future leaders. And also we have been discussing our medical district. We've already been discussing that. We've already discussed our medical marijuana dispensary outlines as far as where we want that near the medical facilities, in particular the hospital and other medical clinics. So we're now looking at perhaps rezoning that. The highway business areas are already zoned B4. And in order for us to proceed with our medical marijuana dispensary, it will indeed be in that location, but it would have to probably be rezoned B5 for medical marijuana dispensary. And we would also have to look at including new language in our community development plan that's in our 1999, development plan for that, and make some changes in our ordinances as well.
And that would be near the
It's
hospital.
near the hospital, Doctors Row on Jeff Davis Boulevard and Highland Boulevard, where there are medical clinics, doctor's offices as well.
All right.
And anything that's already zoned B4 will be included in the new zone B5, the medical district, which will include the medical marijuana dispensary.
But that B5 district would be limited to those areas near the hospital, Jeff Davis Boulevard,
correct.
and Highland Boulevard.
Absolutely.
Okay. We just want to be clarified. And it's my understanding we should have something to consider by our next meeting, June 14th,
Yes, sir.
so we can proceed with that. I'm going to add something to that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is just a little word to the wise. I think anyone wanting to open a dispensary needs to wait until that district is established. I also would advise against purchasing property for this purpose until you are certain that your application has been approved by the state of Mississippi. And that application period does not begin until sometime in June.
That's correct.
And it would be a shame to see someone go out, purchase property, thinking they're going to operate a dispensary without getting approval through the state of Mississippi, which possibly could take some time. We have been told that those approvals may not be given until the end of the year or the very beginning of 2023.
That's correct.
And all of that is outside of the control of the city. And so we're just getting that word of advice out there.
And I would like to add, Mr. Mayor, the Attorney General's office is heavily involved in all of these medical marijuana dispensaries locations.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That ends my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Alderwoman Hall, I also want to thank you because I know you have been catching some heat, and I think it's political in nature. And I just want to take the high road and say thank you. In spite of the controversy and criticism, from day one, you've never wavered to address all of the city parks in the city of Natchez. When you became chairwoman of the Parks and Recreation Committee, you inherited a situation that included deplorable bathrooms, deplorable and unsafe playground equipment, bleachers that couldn't even be sat on at baseball fields, unworking toilets, just a youth center at North Natchez Park that was boarded up and in horrific condition. And in spite of criticism, you have led our effort. The bond has been accomplished. Ms. Cole has been hard at work. And in just a couple of weeks, maybe even less, we'll be able to open the bids on playground equipment. We're proceeding now with all the repairs at these bathrooms. And I think this is a time to celebrate rather than continue to attempt to create political division. We are finally, after a period of so many years, doing things, and the proof, as they say, will be in the pudding. And I can't wait to see the end result, which is coming soon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And
Thank
from
you.
day one, I have said one Natchez.
Yes, and we're working toward that goal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I wasn't finna get into this about these parks and recreation and political stuff, so I'm gonna leave it alone. But this is what this is my report. I just want to say, my prayers and stuff goes out to the people in Texas.
That's
We had-
exactly right.
We had 14
Yes.
students killed
Yes.
in a school, which is a sad state of America. And I think, we as a country, we need to get together. So that's why my prayers are, like I say, Mr. Mayor, I don't have any more to say, so that's the end of my report.
I would encourage a moment of silence at this time. Alderman Frazier. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say congratulations to a new business that opened in Ward 3 that I had the pleasure of presenting a proclamation for that. Kutsu Cotton Boutique, a children's clothing and maternity store that also has other baby items. And Angela Perrin's the owner, and I just want to congratulate them and encourage you all to check their beautiful boutique out. It's located at 29 Sergeant Prentice Drive, Suite 5. It's in the same area as Southside Market, just across in that little strip area. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Great report. Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I want to begin with the neighborhood watch meeting, which will be on tomorrow, May 25th at King Solomon Baptist Church at 6 p.m. Special guest will be our chief, Joseph Daltrey / Commander Cal Green, and Mr. Rick Barino, crisis health therapist. I also received a phone call, Mayor, from Mr. Spencer. He is going to purchase the property from Ms. Victoria Baker. That was the property 716. That 716 is where Mr. Spencer lives. 714 is the property that's next door that we have on the list to be torn down. And she was asking for more time because she didn't have all the paperwork. So she's agreed to sell Mr. Spencer the property on Friday. And Mr. Spencer wants to ask the mayor and board of aldermen, could we extend 6 months for him to get the property cleaned up? He's purchasing it on Friday. I share with him, he will be taking on the full responsibility of cleaning up the property if the board allows him to get that amount of time extended. He's asking 6 months. I mean, got to tear it down, get it cleaned up, got to be able to haul material, prepare himself, he said. He needs that time to get it clean. But he is purchasing it on Friday.
I'm certain that something can be done. I would encourage us to take this under advisement. We haven't even gotten bids yet, and demolition will not begin until the board accepts those bids. And at that time, the board is, of course, willing, I would think, to grant any reasonable period of time if, if such a sale has been, concluded. But I don't, without any further information, I don't know that we can take action right now. I would encourage a meeting with him, just as we are about to meet with another individual who's reached out to us. We're always willing to meet and
So
look
would
at
you
it.
like me to set up the meeting?
Certainly, certainly.
Okay, I'll
In
give you a
fact, I
call.
believe you have already been invited or should have been to another meeting involving someone in your ward who would like some special consideration, and they have gotten busy. We haven't gotten it scheduled yet. It was discussions today,
Oh, 'cause
and
I
we'll
had-
make sure you get notified. It's
Okay,
been such a busy day.
okay,
But we'll make sure you get notified tomorrow, and we can actually take care of both of these at the same time.
okay,
Okay?
all right.
It's another individual with a circumstance and wanted to meet with us.
Okay, okay.
And we were going to reach out to you because this is someone in your ward.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right.
Also, the community-wide COVID vaccination site was a success. I want to thank all the sponsors, City of Natchez, County Board of Supervisors, Natchez Adams County Emergency Management, Natchez Adams School District, Mississippi United, Mississippi Department of Health, AJFC Community Action Agency, and the National Council of Negro Women. It was such a great day out there on Saturday. We had quite a bit of people coming to get their vaccination. Found out we still have some that got their first vaccination.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to them coming back in
Good.
about 3 months to do
Good.
this again. I just want to thank everyone.
Good.
Also, I want to ask for approval of travel to Tunica, Mississippi for the policy conference. Those dates are August 8th through the 12th. Okay, 2022. And asking for the board to approve that. If I need to make a motion, I'll do it now. Want to make a motion so that we could travel to the Tunica, Mississippi Policy Conference. That's
And
August 18th through the 21st.
And this
in
is
Tunica.
on behalf of which organization?
The Black Caucus,
Mhm.
Democratic Black Caucus. Mhm.
Okay. All right. If you'd like to make that motion. Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve travel to Tunica, Mississippi Policy Conference on August the 18th through the 21st.
Okay. And a second to that motion?
Second.
All right. Motion has been made and seconded by Alderman Frazier. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
have
Alderman
any-
Smith?
Is it 1 night, 2 nights, 5 nights?
It's
or-
the 18th through the 21st.
Okay, and
So that's 3
you
nights.
said is it more?
All of us can attend. It's open to absolutely everyone, so every board member can attend. So that's why I said we as a board,
All right.
everyone can
And
attend.
what policies is it going over?
All of them that are coming from the federal government. I mean, you have a lot of our congressmen from representatives from the state of Mississippi. We have other congressmen and women from different states that would be there, sharing policy, those kinds of things that have been handed down. We even have from Jackson, Mississippi, sometimes the governor comes in or the lieutenant governor comes in and they speak to, members of the local government or city officials.
Okay. Alderman Davis?
They were going to that conference last week.
For at
Okay.
least 6 years.
For 6 years.
Great.
Yes, we have. It's a great conference.
All
We have a
right.
lot of great information.
I can see that it would be worthwhile.
Okay,
Any,
I also want to ask too.
We need to dispense of this motion. Call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Continue your report. Yes, Alderwoman.
I wanted to ask Mr. Mayor, have we looked into doing the study of the annexation? Have we looked into getting bids for it?
We have discussed this with various individuals and consultants. It is proving to be a very expensive matter. It has also been the advice of individuals in that industry that you don't do this simultaneously to doing a redistricting plan, which by law we have to get done now, because you basically are just spending money on efforts that then cancel each other out, and then you have to come again. We have not brought this back before the board because we sense that there is no longer a desire to do, what was said after some of these findings. But we can obviously provide more of a report at a later date. But I'm just answering your question.
Okay, and I just wish you would, because I'm getting the calls, and that way we can inform the public what's
Okay.
going on. I also want to say, I like the idea of seeing us have town hall meetings. That's so important to have community involvement, so that way their voice can be heard.
Yes.
I wish we would do more of that. Even when, I just want to allude back to what Mrs. Hall was saying about the medical marijuana, the district and all. We need a town hall for that as well.
There will be a
Because
public
I
hearing.
do have a question about that. We have Dr. Todd, was former Todd Medical Clinic. And so I wanted to ask, was that a part of the medical district? At some point it was. And so I don't want to omit that. And that's my reason for asking. Dr. Bell is there now. And so I'm just wanting to be inclusive and consider that location as well. And we do have a dispensary. And so,
It's not a medical marijuana dispensary. Medical marijuana
it's not,
dispensaries
but they
have
will
not
be
been
applying
licensed.
for the license.
Yeah.
And so, and even if it cannot happen, Mr. Mayor, the only thing that I'm asking, when you afford people information,
Yeah.
then it's accepted
Yes.
better. But to say it's gonna go here, and I'm not in objection of the medical clinic, what I'm saying is that it provides more information
Mhm.
so that it would go over well in your community,
Mhm.
okay, about location.
Mhm.
That's what
Thank
I'm asking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Davis, anything on your report tonight?
Oh, just one thing. I attended a retirement ceremony for the VFW weekend representing the city. It was a nice ceremony, and that ends my report.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your being there on my behalf, Alderman Davis. And we thank you for your service to our country. Noting that Memorial Day is coming up, it's a time to remember all of those who have given their lives for our freedom, and it's also a time to show our appreciation to our veterans. And we acknowledge two veteran members of our board. That would be Alderman Frazier, Alderman Davis. We appreciate your service. Alderman Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a call just a day or a couple days ago, and it's really a kind of an ongoing problem. It's a complaint with the one historic, I guess not maybe the one historic, but historic house that the city of Natchez owns is Auburn Avenue. And you really can't see it for the kudzu. The kudzu is now topping out on those trees on Duncan Avenue. And I hate to characterize it this way, Mr. Mayor, but if it was anybody else but the city of Natchez, we would have them up here under dilapidated properties and neglect. So what I'm proposing is a motion that I get with the public properties and our building inspector, and that we craft a proposal for services to remove the weeds, the undergrowth, the undesirable vegetations, the trees that have been, of course, damaged from Auburn Avenue to Walnut Street along Duncan Avenue.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
All right. Motion made by Alderman Dillard and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. I'd like for you to please include Mr. David Jenkins, who is doing such a good job with our, he might be able to
That may
offer
be
some-
the
assistance.
quickest and most expedient route, Mr. Mayor, since you did bring that up. But the idea is that it really is a treasure to the city, and I don't know
Yes,
many
it is.
cities that can boast of such a piece of property. And the fact that we have not been able to take care of that, and I mean, I brought it up in the past, but I think I'm trying to figure out a way to get it off dead center. It seems to be
Thank you.
stuck in this. Now, someone came in there earlier and bush hogged the grounds, which I don't think was much appreciated by the people that maintain that property.
Yeah.
But I think that was to put in the golf thing there, the Frisbee thing. So, we really need to address this so
Thank
that
you.
it's not an embarrassment to this administration or
Thank
the
you.
city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Smith.
Say, make sure that they know they're welcome to come do a report and request things like that. The Auburn, the managers of it.
We have met with them
Yeah,
several
I
times,
didn't hear
and
anything about that.
I've made sure that they have my cell
You
phone
forget.
number, and I haven't heard from them.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Mayor. That's all
I'm
my
very
comments.
glad you brought it up, Alderman Dillard. We will proceed to a vote. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. I don't think, the design of the disc golf course had anything to do with whatever was done at Auburn.
Okay.
That's a totally different section.
Well,
Okay.
then some renegade bush hogger just went through there and, went through that piece of property, but,
I'm glad you brought this up. We'll call for the question.
I'll-
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ayes have it.
Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor,
Alderman Dillard. Yes,
Now, I'll
Alderwoman
just say
Hall.
one more thing. Today, Alderman Davis and I attended a new memorandum of understanding between Alcorn Natchez campus and Co-Lin Natchez campus with both presidents of the universities, as well as the executive vice president of Alcorn. They are now trying to forge a new partnership between the two, the college and the university, academics, as well as other ways of becoming partners.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alderman Davis. Thank you for being there as well. We value both of those fine institutions of higher learning.
I know one of the things they're trying to do is like some of the classes they have to take up at the campus up there, they're trying to make it so they can take it back to the Natchez.
Great.
A lot of classes.
Great. That's really good. All right. Well, thank you. Good reports. We will move on now to the city clerk's report. Madam Clerk.
First item I have is a request for the approval of the second May 2022 claim docket.
So moved.
Pleasure. All right. Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion? We will call for the question. We'll
Second.
proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Just want to remember, excluded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Request for the approval of the second May 2022 mini claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Claim number 15214, debris tech, monitoring service. That says 3621. So is that an invoice
That was the final invoice that had been overlooked that we had to get paid on the 2021 ice storm cleanup, which was, we discovered part of the reason that the reimbursement was being held up. So that payment has been made. We needed to get it to them quickly. As soon as they have cashed that check, we have a canceled check, then we should be good to go on that reimbursement.
And I have one more. 15239 BMA Bank.
That was a bond payment for
Natchez Convention Center.
the convention center hotel bond payment.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
Call
thank
for the
you.
question?
Second.
Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the only, let's see, a retroactive approval for the interfund transfer that was made on May 12th from the 640-2008 TIF bond construction fund to the 200 bond and interest fund for the payment of the Natchez Convention Center Hotel project bond in the amount of $262,373.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question. Second.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
The only other thing that I had is I sent out a copy of the most current budget status report and a copy of kind of the preliminary budget amendments that I've been working on. That's just for you all to review. If you have any questions or, input on any of the budget amendments, any of that, please don't hesitate to give me a call.
Thank you. I want to say, Madam Clerk, we appreciate all the work you and your staff are doing. And the finances of the city are looking good. And we will now, very soon, be entering our time of preparing budgets for the coming year. And so I would encourage everyone to go through these reports and feel free to meet with the city clerk and her staff between meetings so that you can become familiar with where we are and then expect that we will resume our finance committee meetings soon. The finance committee meets generally when it becomes budget season, and we're about to get into budget season.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman
just
Dillard?
one comment for the clerk. These are the proposed amendments, and I think some of them are corrections, and then some of them are, things that, as you progress through the fiscal year, you have to move stuff to its correct place. But when do you anticipate getting the approval? Of course, before the end of the year, I understand
Right. Well, I
that.
wanted to make sure you all had an opportunity to review them. If you all saw any issues, wanted to make any changes, et cetera, y'all would have time to review it and get back with me. So, hopefully, maybe by the next board meeting, if y'all are comfortable with approving these and moving forward.
Yeah, that may be a little early, but I just want to get your time frame on this. And I will look forward to meeting with you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor,
Yes,
I just want
Alderwoman.
to ask a question. Is it possible that we do a retreat so that we all can be a part of it together?
We've done that before,
We have.
and we'll do that again,
Okay, all right.
certainly.
Yes,
So that way.
I've recently gotten all of the preliminary budget worksheets out to all of the department heads. Asked them to take a couple of weeks, kind of get their requests together so that I can start putting together the big spreadsheet for you all. So once, we have a better idea of something reasonable, then, of course, I'll be including you all in, all of those discussions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, thank you. We'll move on. The city attorney, do you have a report this evening, Mr. Attorney?
I have one thing for the board and then some things we need to discuss in executive session. But the thing that we need to clear up in open meeting is there is a new EEOC claim that has been filed by a former employee that was a police officer. And his employee number was 302-395. It's also tied up in some civil service hearings. I have referred this up to the insurance company and to Nick Morisani at Phelps Dunbar, who has handled our EEOC claims in the past, and would request a motion from the board approving the retention of Nick Morisani and Phelps Dunbar to represent the city in this new EEOC claim by that employee. This is rooted in age discrimination for the most part, is what it appears to be a claim of. But we do need counsel.
Second.
All right, Alderwoman Smith has made the motion, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Paul.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attorney. I would like to now, in my report, I would like to provide a report on airport successes. We are so grateful for the leadership of Richard Nelson and also the commissioners that oversee the airport, John McCullough, the chairman, and Dante Ware, the vice chairman. Some great things are happening. And it is my pleasure to announce tonight that we are closer than ever to restoring commercial service to Natchez for the first time in almost 3 decades. The company is Southern Airways. We've been working with them, as you know, going to the conferences, having meetings, wooing whoever we could woo, and we are getting very close. There is only one thing standing in our way right now, and I want to report on that. First, though, let me give you what has already taken place. Runway rehab work, renovation of the runways is almost complete, will be complete by June 15th. It is a $4.8 million project funded by federal appropriations, and we couldn't be more grateful to all of those in leadership who have helped us. In addition to that, a $1 million lighting project should commence in August with a November completion date. And that project is being funded by the FAA, and it will bring LED modern computerized lighting to our airport. And so with that, we will have renovated runways and renovated lighting. So this is the one thing that we still have to do. In order to get Southern Airways to our airport, we must be successful in being awarded the Small Communities Air Service Development Grant through the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is the grant that the city and the county together applied for. The city pledging $200,000, the county pledging $300,000, for a total of $500,000, requesting a $750,000 appropriation for a $1.25 million program. This would establish a loss mitigation fund that is necessary before we can sign a commercial carrier. I was told by Mr. Richard Nelson today that if that fund was in place today, Southern Airways would be there tomorrow.
Wow.
And so today we had a meeting with Manning McPhillips, who is the government consultant for the city and the county. And we have asked Mr. Phillips to coordinate a meeting very soon where the staff of Senator Roger Wicker will communicate directly with Mr. Richard Nelson, and we'll see what can be done to ensure that that application is a success. The good news is that normally these grants have numerous applicants all across the country. This year, only 47 have applied. And generally about 17 are awarded. And the fact that we're providing a match of $500,000 makes our application very strong, even though this is the very first year that we have applied. And it has been said that generally it takes several years of applying to get one of these grants. And so I'm just speaking hope and prayer and faith that our favor and that all of our hard work will result in our getting this. What it will mean to Natchez is that Southern Airways will bring immediately a King Air jet capable of seating 16 people, a luxury jet that will connect Natchez to Dallas and provide 3 flights a day. And then if, and I should say when demand occurs and increases, they will move us to a 30-seat plane. And this will be in conjunction with American Airlines. So we're excited to say that, as I said in the beginning, and I see Mr. Slover nodding and grinning back there, we are closer than we've ever been. But we will not stop now. And I want to just say this in closing. I want to thank the county and all 5 of our supervisors for working with the city. This has been a partnered effort. And I want to thank you, the aldermen, who have unanimously supported this partnership and funding my trips to these conferences and funding the various projects that we've done in sync with the county, and most significantly funding our match for this grant. And so we hope to bring more news soon, and let's just pray that it happens.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman
forgive me
Smith.
if I missed that, but do we know what time of year that grant's awarded?
We are told that that grant will be awarded sometime within the next couple months, maybe sooner. And there's another grant possibly in the fall. So we'll keep you updated.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
is that what it looks like?
I know. Well,
It's okay.
that's a large one. We'll have to start with the 16 seater. But that's just actually our logo because we have termed this our Natchez Jets program. And JETS stands for Jobs, Education, Tourism, and Success. And we know this will be a game changer. It was a real pleasure sharing this news yesterday with the top executive team of American Queen while we were in Memphis together, an event I'll speak about in a minute, and also sharing with them and just enjoying watching their faces when I told them their competitor, American Cruise Lines, has already expressed a lot of interest in starting and stopping their cruises here in Natchez once we get air service. And so that might inspire American Queen to do the same thing.
That's right.
So that's our report. Just wanted to share that with you. I also want to thank you for your vote 2 weeks ago unanimously to allow us to go forward with an amended design on Silver Street. That is in process. We hope to have it soon finished so that we can then move to bidding. It is our hope that we will be able to bid that this summer so that by the latter part of the year, that project can be complete. And we will let you know as soon as the redesign is done so that the bidding can take place.
Mr. Mayor, before you move past.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
Silver Street, in that discussion, I think we had worked it out where the city's putting up, how much is the city matching?
As of right now, the city is putting in $750,000
And
of
each boat
ARPA
is,
funds, and the cruise lines are each putting in $250,000 for a total of $500,000.
and what I had missed on that and had some discussion, is there an application for a grant?
Yes, there is. And we are working that now with the Mississippi Department of Transportation for matching funds dollar for dollar through the EBR program, Emergency Bridge and Road Repair. We don't know how that will go, and I will prepare you. We may need to be looking for some other funding sources, but we're working on that strategy now.
So, of course, we would be, considerate of the MDOT grant, but I mean, are they designing a $2.5 million upgrade to Silver Street?
No. The reason that we're looking at this project costing over $2 million is primarily due to the inflation cost. We originally anticipated it would be about 1.25, and the engineers have said it will probably be more like 2 million. The redesign could trigger another couple $100,000, but we don't know just yet. And we are discussing with a property owner under the hill that they split that additional cost with the city. So it's been a real technical thing, but we're getting closer.
Do we know when the award date of that grant will be announced?
We don't. We don't. It could happen within the month because by the very nature of the grant, it is an emergency bridge and road repair program.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. I will say Mr. Johnson prepared an excellent grant application for that program. I need to now ask for a motion. The third item, the Natchez U.S. Colored Troops Monument Committee, under the direction of Chairman Robert Purnell, has been working very hard to get a request for qualifications and proposals, RFQP, completed. But we have now we are understanding that now that this will be on the bluff, on the northern end of the bluff, this project becomes a city project because eventually that monument will belong to the city. And so in coordination with the U.S. Colored Troops Monument Committee, we would like to for legalities and making sure the city is compliant with law, that we ask you to approve this RFQP process on behalf of the city. And so the packet has already been prepared. It is going out on all media, and the request is for proposals for conceptual and schematic design. This is the artist that will draw this up. Also, I will tell you that last week we did submit a grant in the amount of $25,000 with a $25,000 match. That match would actually come from the private funds being raised, and so far they have already raised over $16,000.
So moved.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Let
Alderman
me
Dillard.
understand that we are, I guess, we're going to generate the request for proposals and qualifications, and that there is a private entity that is raising $25,000 towards a $25,000 city match.
Yes. Well, no. The grant is actually a $25,000 grant that
Okay.
requires a $25,000 match.
And the
And
private,
at this time, the private
Okay.
funds would be the match.
Okay.
But I do want to prepare you at some point, obviously, as we move forward, there will be a request for some city appropriation, some county appropriation,
Mhm.
and some appropriation from the state government and from the federal government, because these are U.S. troops that we are honoring. But that will come later in the process once we have achieved a design and a budget. Right now, we don't know how much the project will cost because it hasn't been designed yet.
well, I mean, I would assume, Mr. Mayor, that since it's going to be on city property, that the city would assume the responsibilities for the upkeep, maintenance, and care of this
That's right.
for longevity.
That's right.
So that if we had other partners join us, they would understand that when it's all said and done, we will still be here
Right.
when their
Exactly.
money runs out.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So there is something to those responsibilities that we're taking on. Thank you, Mr.
You're exactly right, Alderman. Well, the motion has been made and seconded. Is there?
Call for question?
All right, we'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item I would like to ask, this is a draft. We are still tweaking it, but we are looking forward to a very successful Juneteenth celebration on behalf of the city of Natchez during the week of June 14th through 19th. And so we want to give you just a summary. Nifa Hardy has been working very hard on this with partners in the community. On Unity Day, we'll go back up. That will be the annual Day of Unity. We will have a program at the bandstand at 5:30. That's a misnomer. It's not going to last an hour. It'll last about 30 minutes tops. We're going to invite people to bring their cold drinks and their fans. And it's just going to be an all-American, all Natchez, one Natchez unity celebration. This is a tradition that was started under the former administration, under the leadership of Mayor Grinnell, and we're keeping it going. And then on the 16th, we're actually going to add a little more on this graphic before it's printed, and we're going to be running advertisements. We're going to get it out there. But we really want to pay attention to this great event happening at NAPAC on June 16th, 5 o'clock to 7, where we will have an author, Alice Faye Duncan, and she will be there providing a presentation on books she has written, and it's especially targeting our children. So we're looking forward to that. And then immediately following that at 7, we will then go into about an hour-long event from 7 to 8, where we will celebrate more about the history of Juneteenth, a tour of NAPAC, some food, refreshments, and that will be our kickback at NAPAC like we had last year. And then on the 17th, barbecue and blues, and that's going to be a Friday event. That will be at the wonderful location there, Jarita Fraser King's restaurant. It's going to be a great event. And then on the 18th, I just enjoyed it so much last year. I know everyone did. And we will look forward to our community white linen dining table event on Commerce Street. And then there will be a brunch on the 19th at Rolling River Reloaded. So we are looking forward to some great events. I do want to throw this out there. I had a great talk with Jeremy Houston today. Jeremy, as you know, is with Miss Lou Heritage Tours. And his partner, Brian McKnight, they have decided not to have their events this year due to some scheduling difficulties. And we were going to sponsor Miss Lou Heritage to the tune of $1,500. Now that they are not doing that, we have talked to Miss Jarita King, and we have also talked to Mr. Bobby Dennis at NAPAC, and we believe that it would be fitting for us to take that $1,500 that we were going to give to Miss Lou Heritage Tours and split it, $750 going to NAPAC to help with their Thursday event, and then $750 more going to help with the Soul Fusion events and the community table. So I would like to entertain a motion. This is in keeping with the dollar amount we did last year. Okay, Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded that motion. We're going to ask Alderman Frazier to recuse himself from the discussion since his daughter and her nonprofit is involved in this. I will say that these both are nonprofit organizations that are assisting with these events. And Alderman Frazier, we'll come get you in a minute. All right. We'll invite now discussion. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
of course, last year's been a long time ago, but I do want to, since you brought up earlier that we will soon be in our budget season. And if maybe between you and the clerk and all of the appropriations and donations and sponsorships that you want,
Yeah.
is there some way that we can get those in the budget?
Certainly.
Or is this money coming out of your promotional?
No. This actually is a budget amount with the city.
I mean, you've got
You
plenty
know,
of
just
money in
as
your
the city
promotional,
has-
don't you?
The city has sponsored, as you know, the every year the Festival of Music, the Eurofest, other events and activities. I believe we have established a precedent of
Not
contributing
spending money
about
without
3,000 to
budgeting.
Juneteenth.
Yeah.
as a
Well, I mean,
city.
but this would be a good time. Let's get it on paper
Yeah.
if we can look forward to that.
And I
Okay?
think we
did.
did put it in the budget for this year.
No, we
Um,
didn't. Not this year.
We've already approved that.
I thought
We
we.
did not.
If it's in
Okay.
here, it didn't.
Well,
show
I
up.
know
We said
it was our
would, but it
intention
was not.
to.
It did not.
Well, we're
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
taking care of that tonight. Any further? Yes? Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Richard, if you'll get Alderman Frazier and let the record report that it was a 4 ayes with Alderman Frazier recusing himself. All right.
It's 5 hours.
I'm sorry, 5 with Alderman Frazier recusing himself. You know, I tell you, my math's a little fuzzy, isn't it? We now are going to discuss the Watkins Street Cemetery. And by the way, I just want to make note that we are doing so many things for all of Natchez, one Natchez. Truly, it has been my intention since taking that oath of office that we take care of our whole city. Is why I've been so intent on getting these parks, all of them cleaned up and restored. While we started the restoration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street, the annual cleanup that very first year on Dr. King's birthday, and we did it again this year. We'll continue it. We have so many things that we're doing. Well, this is very important and it has long been on our list. As you know, last year we became very concerned with the conditions at Watkins Street Cemetery, which is a historic cemetery in our city. And last year at my request, I was very grateful that this board did contribute $16,000, if I'm not mistaken, $16,000 to the cleanup. there was a lot of debris down after the ice storm and hurricanes. And so we did our best to help. But it has come to our attention that this cemetery is in a continual state of need. And you know, Watkins Street Cemetery is one of the oldest African-American cemeteries in the state of Mississippi. It's located in the 1300 block of Watkins Street within the boundaries of the city of Natchez. The Watkins Street Cemetery is a historically significant cemetery as it contains the grave sites of veterans of foreign wars, persons who were born during the time of slavery, and mass and private grave sites of persons who perished in the Rhythm nightclub fire incident. The Watkins Street Cemetery is in a state of decay and neglect caused by limbs and debris, unchecked growth of vegetation, disintegration of markers, roads, grounds, and boundaries within the cemetery. An organization of volunteers, and we think a lot of them, the Worthy Women of Watkins Street Cemetery Association. This organization was formed to help maintain the Watkins Street Cemetery, but membership and volunteers for the organization have declined, and the association has been unable to meet the demands necessary to maintain the cemetery, although all 7 women do their best. And Ms. Dorothy Sanders, on behalf of the Worthy Women of Watkins Street Cemetery, has appeared before the mayor and board of aldermen on multiple occasions to request assistance with maintenance of this important cemetery and to continue improving its conditions because it is so important to our community. And so I believe that it is important that we do what we can in the best interest and welfare of the citizens of Natchez to help improve the cemetery, knowing it will not only be the right thing to do, but it will also draw visitors to our area because obviously there is great history there, and it should be a significant site for our tourism in Natchez. And so I am asking this board to approve a resolution authorizing maintenance of Watkins Street Cemetery according to the definitions described in section 213721 of the Mississippi Code of 1972 as amended. This will basically allow the city to assist the Worthy Women of Watkins Street Cemetery, to assist them in the mowing and limb cleanup within the cemetery, helping them to utilize a local company, Unlimited Resources. Estimated cost would be $13,000 for the first year. That would get us through the end of this year in this growing season. And that is broken down as follows: $2,600 for the upfront cleanup. That includes limbs, debris, and then $800 per cut. And the $13,000 we arrive at, that basically is 2 cuts per month between now and the end of November. The mayor and board of aldermen would, in this resolution, find that this $13,000 should be allocated and budgeted to pay the invoices of Unlimited Resources as they are delivered to Worthy Women of Watkins Street Cemetery for mowing and limb cleanup of the Watkins Street Cemetery for a period of 1 year. We will have to revisit this in the spring, but this will take care of this year. I would anticipate that in the beginning of next year, we would need to enter a new arrangement, and we would probably see a higher cost because we would be starting earlier in the year than we are starting this year. This year, we're starting, obviously, right here at the end of May, early June. The payments would be paid as work is completed. And our city attorney has worked very hard to craft this in a way that meets state law. So at this time, I would entertain a motion that would allow us to do this. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Frazier has seconded that motion. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall?
yes, does the 7,500 that has already been allocated to the cemetery annually go towards this 13,000?
Yes, yes. So we have already budgeted for 7,500 and we are suggesting then, and we do have the funds and obviously we have a healthy account in our city treasury where it comes to community development and other funds. But I am suggesting that we would right now increase that amount. However, it is important to note we may not have to because that 7,500 has not been expended.
Right.
We will have to rebudget for October 1. 7,500 may actually get us through the month of September. So it may not be necessary for us to amend that budget just now. Further discussion? Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I just wanted to ask, who would be the contractor doing the?
Unlimited Resources. They have provided a quote for the cemetery.
They're
And that is
local?
David Jenkins, who has a proven record of doing such a good job with other properties around the city, including just drive out to North Natchez Park if you want to see a dramatic improvement.
But you can drive all the parks and see the improvement
It
that
is-
he's done
that's
since
true.
he's been
It really
cleaning
is,
up the parks.
yeah.
I just was wondering who was the contractor because we've already had this, we didn't do a bid out. So I
No,
know that would
it's-
normally be the,
His services are
Process.
being provided to the
City,
cemetery and
okay.
not the city.
okay,
We're just
So you
providing
wouldn't do-
financial assistance
since we're doing the funding. Okay,
under state law.
okay.
Alderwoman Smith?
Mr. Mayor, I'm just a little tired. So I'm like, I don't understand the finances. What do we have left and what's going to it? I mean, I
Okay.
get that it's going to be 13 in November, but you're saying we have to do new
We-
in October.
We
Straight.
budgeted 7,500 for this current budget year, which ends on September 30th. We have not spent any of that 7,500 yet. And so that 7,500 will cover a good bit between now and the end of September. But obviously we are contracting. We want to make sure that this cemetery is taken care of through November, the end of the growing season. Then we will revisit this. But I will say at our time of budgeting, we may have to look seriously at it for the new budget year because we will have the spring and summer months in the new budget to consider. But right now we're getting,
26,000 maybe.
and it wouldn't be, I don't think that much.
The 13.
It's about 1,600 a month for a cutting. And so if we began cutting in April, May, that's another 3,200. So,
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to
Yeah.
add that a new law now permits municipalities to care for abandoned cemeteries.
mhm,
Prior to 2019, only counties could do that.
yes, it's a very
I
good
think it's
thing.
really
It's a
relevant
very
for
good
us
thing.
at this point to do that.
Well, yes, Alderman Dillard?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I mean, one thing according, this is the budget status report that we got on May the 20th, and you're right, none of the $7,500 has been expended, which this is the time of the year to expend it. But another thought occurred to me, Mr. Mayor, and of course, be honest with you, I don't know any cemeteries that there aren't any, insignificant people buried in them. I think all cemeteries are important to all
Yes.
people, so I agree with that. I think what I'd like to say is there any way that we can use our resources, our grant writing resources, to try to find some money that would facilitate these?
Oh,
things?
certainly.
I mean, I would think that as you've
Certainly.
made this eloquent presentation of the importance of it, which is well founded, that why wouldn't that be in some position to be able to secure these kind of funds? We have the resources, whether the Southwest Mississippi Plan, the Central Mississippi Plan, or our Community Development Director, to try to secure some of these funds. So that, right now we're just able to put a Band-Aid on it.
That's right. Obviously, what we're doing right now is just make sure the grass gets cut and everything cleaned up. But there are definitely more needs, and we look forward to working with those in the community who are interested.
Would you
in
make a commitment
assisting the worthy
to
women
that
with-
grant writing, securing some
Yes.
form of effort to make that happen?
Yes, we have
Thank you.
discussed that. The grants would have to be in the name of the worthy women of Watkins Street Cemetery. And once we get this accomplished, obviously we've been working, one bite of the apple at a time. So we've been working on this bite of the apple, and then grants, and even community events, and even perhaps an event similar to our Angels on the Bluff, but pertinent to that cemetery, and perhaps an event that could be held during Black History Month next year. Obviously, we're going to be looking at a lot of things. And in fact, I had a very good conversation with Bobby Dennis today at NAPAC, and he said they would love to be involved in helping us. I also spoke to Jeremy Houston about Watkins Street Cemetery, and he said that he would love to be involved. So, and as you know, at an earlier meeting just a couple of weeks ago, we heard from Mr. Monroe Sago, who is very interested in being involved. So I believe there is community support, but let's get this bite of the apple taken care of
Call the
first.
question.
Second.
All right, the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in, and we'll do yes, being that it is a resolution, we'll roll call this vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Uh,
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Yes, Alderman Frazier.
Well, I would like to get a copy of the resolution. I don't have a copy.
We'll make sure we get it to you.
Also, let me say this. I am, I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I know many times as things are said and done, sometimes this board don't see eye to eye with each other. But I am totally appreciative of what this board did tonight in reference to the Watkins Street Cemetery. That do goes to show that we can work together when we get together. Also, I want to say that this resolution and what this board did tonight, I'm gonna say on behalf of the Black community, which is totally appreciated. This is, as you say, this cemetery has been neglected for years and years, and I have a lot of friends and people, friends and relatives buried in that cemetery. And I think that this board now is taking the right step and doing the right thing for the citizens in Ward 2 and the city and county of Adams County. Not just the city, but the county itself too. It's in Guada County. And on behalf of this, I want to thank the board for taking this step. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Ma- Mr.
Alderman
Mayor.
Frazier. Thank you. Yes, Alderwoman
I would
Hall.
like to just say, I think when this fire occurred, the entire Natchez community and surrounding area came together. It wasn't just one segment
Yes.
that was supported. The entire
Yes.
community was supported by outlying areas.
Yes.
And this community came as one,
Wow.
not just one segment.
That's wonderful. There is such a history of unity in this
Yes,
community
it
and
is.
in times of crisis and times of challenge. And I'm just excited. In fact, I think this is one of the best things that we could have ever done. With that said, we'll move on to the next item. And thank you, Alderman. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I asked for your approval for travel to Memphis, Tennessee for the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative event with the American Queen and other river cities that was held, and this would be, the dates are not on here, so I need to tell you, this would be May 22nd to 24, just left there this morning. The mayor of Memphis, Jim Strickland, hosted mayors of river cities in Memphis with the United States Postal Service as they unveiled a 10-stamp series honoring the mighty Mississippi River. I was honored to be invited, and it was a last-minute thing. I really didn't think my schedule would allow, but we moved things around because we just realized we needed to be there. Other river city mayors were in attendance, including river cities that host the American Queen. And when we found out that the American Queen was one of the hosts and that CEO John Wagner and his executive team would be there as the most popular destination on American Queen's tours, we knew we couldn't miss it. And so we were honored to be in attendance yesterday, and it truly was wonderful. And so I just ask for your approval for that travel.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded it. Any discussion? We'll proceed to the vote.
Question.
The
Second.
question's been called. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I do want to invite everyone we have an important item we do need to take care of before we go into executive session and before I make these last announcements. I am pleased to report publicly that Ms. Frankie G. Legault, Legaux, that's Frankie, Frankie, middle initial G, Legault, Legaux, has accepted the position as city planner for the city of Natchez. She will begin on June 2nd. This board, as you know, had extended an offer and we have been waiting. But now to make it formal, I will entertain a motion
So moved.
that we make this hire at the pre-negotiated terms.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman
Second.
Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. And she will begin on June 2nd. I will say that she is a former city planner, having worked for the city of Natchez a few years ago. She comes highly recommended. She has many, many years of experience, and for many years she has been a certified city planner. So we look forward to working with Ms. Legault. She will have her work cut out for her, looking at so many things that need addressing in the city, with regard to proper enforcement of our ordinances, our preservation code, our planning ordinances, looking at zoning issues, looking at issues where we have had known violations of our ordinances and how to rectify that situation properly.
Mr. Mayor,
So we look forward to this. Alderwoman
I'd
Hall?
like to thank Mr. Phil Walker for serving as the interim
Yes.
planner during this transition.
Mr. Walker and I
Who's
spoke
also a
today.
former planner.
Mr. Walker's done a fantastic job for us.
He has.
Yes,
So does that mean that his contract would end
Yes.
this month?
it will. It will end at the end of this
31st?
month. It
Okay.
will. It will. And we discussed that with him today.
Okay.
So with that said, I will call for the question.
Called.
We will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. We now will invite the media to reach Ms. Legault. If you so desire, just reach out to me and I'll provide her contact information. It is not our policy to share resumes of individuals with the public. That is their prerogative, and we will invite the press to reach out to Ms. Legault. Now, the next couple of things, I want to invite everyone to a very important press event that will be taking place at the Natchez Indians Heritage Site on June 7th at 10:30 a.m. This press event will be a very important event where tremendous funding for a new visitor center at the Grand Village and a new project for restoration of Jefferson College will be announced. I'm not going to discuss more details. It will all be forthcoming at that press event on June 7th at 10:30 a.m.
At Grand Village.
And it will be at Grand Village. And the director for Archives and History, Katie Blunt, will be in attendance. And she'll be sharing some exciting news. It's already been reported that the legislature made a very generous allocation. And we're very grateful to our government consultants, Greg Harper, Manny McPhillips, for working so hard on this project in conjunction with Archives and History. And it is literally bringing millions of dollars and new development to our area. And it will mean for a better tourism experience at Grand Village, and also an exciting project under the partnership of Mississippi State University and Tulane, right there on the campus of the old Jefferson College. I also want to say this just in passing. As you know, we are diligently working on the restoration of restrooms in our parks. Mr. Scott's making good progress. However, it was quite discouraging just a few days ago when we saw fresh vandalism at the restroom at North Natchez Park. And it occurred just 2 or 3 days after the board meeting where that restroom had last been discussed. It is something that we disdain, that we condemn. We are now looking at how we can very quickly install cameras there. But I will say this, that nothing will curb our efforts to restore the bathrooms at our parks. The incident today, this evening, that Alderman Frazier so thoughtfully brought to mind should underscore just how important our children are. And anyone who would deface a bathroom at a park, I consider it to be an affront to our children. Over the last several weeks, I've spent many hours reading to children at the elementary schools in our area. I will be at 2 schools tomorrow. The children are our future, and anyone who doesn't get that, I pray for you. Well, with that said, we will now ask you to approve a motion to go into executive session. We will have an open determination. That open determination is, as stated earlier by the city attorney, to discuss a pending legal matter involving our police department. And we will also discuss an item pertaining to personnel issues and rates of pay within the city government. Do I have a motion? Yes, Mr. Attorney. Yes, sir.
We also have one litigation and settlement strategy matter to discuss with Attorney Slover, who's representing the
Thank
city
you.
right now.
Thank you so much. With that said, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. We will now ask any discussion, call for the question,
Second.
proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. We will provide a report when we return from our executive session. We'll allow for a few minutes All right, we are back in session. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our executive session, return to regular session.
Second.
Alderwoman Smith has made the motion. Alderwoman Hall has seconded it. Any discussion? We will call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We will give this report. We discussed litigation matter involving a possible settlement. No action was taken. We also discussed, we're going to discuss a matter pertaining to police. Then we realized that that had already been taken care of during open session with regard to the EOC claim and the hiring of the law firm Phelps Dunbar. We then discussed matters pertaining to salaries involving city employees. So that is the report of our executive session. At this time, Alderwoman Hall, I believe you have a motion you would like to make.
Yes, sir. I would like to move that we make the following salary adjustments to the following employees identified only by their number. Employee number 303005 and employee number 303073.
Second.
All right, the motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion? We
Question?
will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I'll entertain the motion to adjourn. Alderman Davis.
Ron Calloway.
Mr. Callaway. Oh, wait. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. You know, I guess I'm in a hurry to get out of here like everybody else, but Mr. Callaway, you have the last motion. You aren't making the motion, but you're going to phrase it. We have a motion to be made and you're going to phrase it for us.
Public edification, we've been in a lawsuit with Riverside Construction Services arguing over amounts of money that are owed in claims. Mr. Slover addressed the board in the back and we discussed settlement. To resolve all of the claims that are pending in this litigation, we need the board to authorize a full and final settlement in the amount of $272,000 for a full and final release and dismissal of all claims.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion. Call. The question's been called. We'll
Second.
proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Alderman Davis, you have a motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. Any discussion? We'll move to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Nay.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, officer. And Chief. And
Thank y'all.
as always, Mr. Hinkle, thank you for all you do. Wow.